the Triumph Hurdle this year looks like it's one for the Brits, because I think Lulamba and East India Dock are miles clear of what we've seen in Ireland so far. The Spring Juvenile that Hello Neighbour won looked like the horse was possibly going to win a bit cozier than he did. I know he's got the cheap pieces on, and then you maybe wonder if he saved a bit for himself in the finish. But I thought it was one of those classic examples where you watch a horse race, the jockey's not moving, so the horse must have loads left, as opposed to you look at the horse and think, well, he's not having to be asked for an effort, but he is putting a bit in. So I think he's at least £10 off where East India Dock is on that performance alone. I think the Lamber's Ascot run's as good as what that horse did in the DRF, but obviously Hello Neighbour's come from the flat and then had the runs, whereas the Lamber's trajectory could be much steeper. So don't fear Hello Neighbour, really. And I know a few people are making a case for him. The Spring Juvenile has had a habit of pointing to a Triumph winner, but it's not always the winner of that race that does it. The second, third and fourth have come and won this race after it can be sort of roles reversed, but I didn't see anything in behind that performance to say to me they look like when they come to Cheltenham they're going to progress past them. And again, I don't think the trajectory of the horses in behind are any good. So that's me dismissive of all of those horses' chances. So I've managed to whittle the grade one down to just two horses, Will. I believe that East India Dock sets the standard, but I also believe that it's not insurmountable for Lulamba to go beyond him. And as much as from a price perspective, I feel like East India Dock, because now he's gone to favourite because of the weakness of Lulamba, the fact he didn't go in the Adonis, and there was question marks about that. Henderson said he's fine. As much as I can understand why East India Dock could be favourite for this race, I do still think that it's more than likely that Lulamba is going to progress past him. And the reason I say that is purely for the fact that East India Dock, we'll remember him from the flat as well. When Ryan Moore rode him when he got beat by Falak and he was out the back, he just didn't look the same type of horse as he did when he managed to get things his own way. And all the races he's running as a juvenile here, he's been running against rubbish horses. Admittedly, this Triumph might not be too much better, but he's also had things fairly cosy his own way up front. And his jumping's been exemplary, which isn't a negative as such. But if he does find himself getting stuck into a hurdle or getting bunched around by a couple of horses or not getting things his own way, there is a reason to suggest that he might not run up to the same sort of number or at least step forward from it. So I'm definitely being overly critical of East India Dock, but I feel like Lulamba's the one that I want to side with. But it's definitely more... But it's like the vision of what he did at Ascot as well was just like very good, giving all that weight away to Mondo Man. But Mondo Man was obviously doing a lot wrong and still managed to get within a few lengths of him, but was getting all that weight. I think Lulamba's going to be 150's horse, and I don't think East India Dock's going to be much better than the 140's horse that he is now. But you're going to have a difference of opinion in this one, Will. So between us, we can tip up the front two in the market for the Triumph, because I'm Team Lulamba and you're definitely Team East India Dock, right?
Well, I am, only because of I'm generally in the team where I've got the facts and figures of something that has been done, and the likelihood is that that could be repeated and or improved upon. So with East India Dock, on what he's done so far, is the standout. You know, he's the standard setter. It sets, for me, it's a very high standard compared to UK juveniles generally, and juveniles, you know, UK and Ireland generally as well, even considering some of the better Triumph Hurdle winners from over across the Irish Sea. Now, the one thing for me is that Lulamba, we don't know how good he is. I mean, there are signs, reading between the lines, that he's very good and potentially could be very, very good. I mean, the market support that we saw for him before he made his debut, the manner in which he won at Ascot, you know, for his first start for Nicky Henderson was, you know, impressive. You had to be wowed by what he did there, and the manner suggested that, you know, they were far from the bottom of the tank with what he did there by any stretch. So it's a race for me now where the prices as they are neither make appeal to me at the prices, because East India Dock is priced up on what he's done. Lulamba is priced up on what he might do. And I think both are fair. I think both are, you know, about right. But because I'm always tied back to, well, East India Dock has set this level with this performance, clocked this kind of time, that's the one. If you gave me a tenner, in my mind, I'd be far happier knowing that I'd backed him at that on the evidence that I've got. If Lalamba goes and improves, great, well done. But I'd console myself more if I backed East India Dock and he lost than I would the other way around.
Yeah, that's fair. So have you got
Doesn't
one at
mean
a
I know
price
who's going to win.
So
Yeah,
there wouldn't be anything at bigger prices though, because
No.
obviously they're priced as they are. Like I said, I think the ones in behind, I feel like they're much of a muchness to me. I don't think there's anything that stands out, and the Irish bar is definitely far lower than it's been in many, many years for this season. It looks like.
I mean, do you know the one that has clocked a half decent time recently and has just jumped into the reckoning a little bit, only a little bit, would be Blue Lemons for Willie Mullins, who made his hurdle debut at Gorham Park last week, and he did well. He was good, I thought, for a horse that beforehand, he was a miler on the flat. He's by Blue Point. You're thinking, well, no chance, surely, no chance of staying. But maybe the Galileo mare is just bringing out a bit of stamina in that side, and I thought he was sneakily impressive. You're going to need much more than that. Yeah, you're going to need much more than that, though. He was definitely one that, it might be that he runs down the field in the Triumph, and then you may be looking at backing for Punchestown or something else further down the line.
No, but I like that because the bar that's been set in Ireland is like, it's very like, I feel like obviously not any of them could do it, but I feel like most of the Irish horses could better Hello Neighbour in the Triumph. I could be proven wrong in that one. And obviously he does set a level. The quirks about in the cheap pieces and stuff, they're not preferable things when you're looking at coming towards winning a Triumph. So they put me off. But I remember when Burning Victory took advantage of Goshen's fall, like the hoof hooking incident when he was miles clear and had the race won. But Burning Victory, she had a spin very close to the festival, and then even with like Masborough having that run in the Spring Juvenile, then stepping forward, like the leaps that are Willie Mullins Juvenile when he's literally running them for the sake of it being a prep towards a Triumph, they can make big waves. So yeah, I hadn't noticed that horse, to be fair. I might have a little go on Blue Lemons because I like to get a bit of cover in behind, because I'm going to get stuck into Lilamba's the top and the bottom of it. I've got a little bit on at prices where you mentioned he was well supported for this race before his debut as well, and then he was a bit of a drifter really at Ascot, wasn't he? But I'm not on at any sort of fancy prices. I've got a little bit at 6-1, and then that's it. But I do want to get stuck into the Lamba, so I need something as a bit of cover just in case the bubbles burst. So thanks, Will. I'll back Blue Lemons, and then I'll go against your advice that if you had a tenner to back East India Dock, and somehow I'll blame it on you. Right.
Okay, perfect.